On Sunday, Michigan held Media Day, its unofficial kickoff for the 2016 season. And while Coach Jim Harbaugh believes strongly in his meritocracy, it was made clear by running backs coach Tyrone Wheatley that senior Davion Smith begins the season number 1 on the depth chart. The 5'11", 220-pounder deserves that after finishing with 482 more yards rushing than his closest competitor last season, fellow senior Drake Johnson, who figures to factor more prominently in the ground game this season after fully recovering from his 2 ACL injuries. Smith rushed for 100 yards or more in 3 contests last year, including 109 in a bowl win over Florida, and now has 5 career 100-yard efforts. Smith is consistently knocked for what he isn't, largely a home run threat that had just 1 run over 30 yards last season. And even Wheatley admitted that Smith's impatience can be a detriment as the ball carrier sometimes forces his way into a pile. But what Smith has always been is a kid that gets the most out of his ability, moves the chains, will fight through arm tackles, ask BYU's defense about that one, has good hands as a receiver, and is arguably the best blocking tailback in the last quarter century of Michigan football. And that's not hyperbole. Through the decades, there have been other backs like Smith that probably didn't get the respect they deserved, like Ed Shuttlesworth, who never had a 1,000-yard season from 1971 to 73, but had more than 700 yards in 3 straight years while sharing the offensive backfield with Chuck Heater, Gil Chapman, and quarterback Dennis Franklin. There was Leroy Horde, who was part of a 1-2 punch in 1988-89 with speedster Tony Bowles. Horde was 6 feet, 220 pounds, and got plenty of run in Bo Schembechler's run-heavy offenses. The player that compares most favorably to Smith in my mind, though, is Chris Howard. Howard had 38 yards as a rookie in 1994 on a loaded Michigan team that had Tyrone Wheatley, Tumunga Biakwatuka, and Ed Davis. In 1995, he had 175 yards during a season in which Biakwatuka rushed for a program record 1,818 yards. In 1996, Howard and Clarence Williams split carries, with Howard getting 160 for 725 yards and 10 scores, and Williams earning 202 attempts. However, Howard took over the role of the number 1 back in 1997, and while he never had his 1,000-yard campaign, finishing with 938 yards as a senior, he established himself as one of Michigan's most valuable ball carriers, doing whatever was necessary for an underrated offense on the Wolverines' national championship team. Now, here comes Smith, who had 117 yards as a rookie, 519 yards in a bigger role as a sophomore, and 753 yards last season as the number 1 running back. He may or may not get to 1,000 this year, and probably not if Johnson, redshirt junior Ty Isaac, and a true freshman or 2 ends up grabbing more of the snaps this season. But Smith could prove himself an invaluable player to a team chasing a Big Ten title and possibly even a college football playoff berth.